This is one of those instances where I'm the most libbed up, most hashtag resistance ass motherfucker out there. This double standard is so annoying. Okay, this double standard is completely unacceptable. All right,
turn to Rachel.
Let's get started on the Trump rally. Right.
Rachel Scott in Pennsylvania for the latest on the Trump campaign. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, Michael, good morning. Yeah, Donald Trump's campaign has really been trying to turn the page after a comedian compared Puerto Rico to a floating island of garbage at one of his rallies. But this morning, Republicans are seizing on what President Biden had to say about it.
Overnight, after days of facing backlash, Donald Trump making an all-out appeal to Latino and Hispanic voters in battleground Pennsylvania.
Nobody loves our Latino community and our Puerto Rican community more than I do. Nobody.
The cleanup following racist and vulgar comments made by a comedian at Trump's New York rally on Sunday.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico.
President Biden going on the attack.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable, and it's un-American.
The White House says President Biden was referring to the comedian, but Republicans seizing on the president's words, accusing.
I think Look Alive Jack came out with the Mac attack in the last second. People might criticize him for it, but he's right and he should say it. Okay? That's it. That's my take. Like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? What are we doing here? Why is it that like Republicans can literally say a metric ton of unhinged garbage on a daily fucking basis? And when someone goes, hey, I don't like that, that's a trashy statement that you're making. They go, whoa, 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 whoa. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? What is going on? I'm a victim. What do you mean? What do you mean? I just simply want concentration camps for every migrant at the border. Why are you calling me a fascist for that? Wow, you're the real fascist for saying that. As a matter of fact, it's like, dude, what the are we doing? Anyone that looks at these two statements, okay, side by side, like the Republican platform, how Biden has responded, and goes, well, both sides are really up here, is the most delusional person on the planet. What the I'm sorry. This is completely beyond the scope of comprehension. It is beyond unacceptable, okay? If anyone looks at either of these and like falls for these cynical attacks, okay? Fall for these like cynical attacks, they are the biggest sucker of all time, okay? You are a mark. You are a rube. You are a sucker. Yeah, I was, of course, correct when I said Harris will break away from Biden over garbage comment about Trump supporters after reluctance to distance herself. Oh. Saw some polling from I forget where on TV. They said both Trump, Kamala could win popular vote with all margins. Do you think it's correct? Maybe. What are you saying? CNN gigacopium overdose. New CNN poll show Wisconsin, Harris up 6. Michigan, Harris up 5. Pennsylvania, Harris, Trump, dead heat. Goddamn. Goddamn. Biden said it to force her to break away from him? Yeah. No. All right. Who else is supposed to protect Republicans from evil Joe Brandon? Yeah, Kamala be like, I'm going to defend you Republicans from my administration. Like, this is what it took for her to break away. She could have broken away. She could have broken away over and over again, but like, nope, this is when it did. This is when it happened. Biden had that streamer webcam angle. I know. He was cooking. He was cooking.
Him of calling Trump supporters garbage.
Breaking news for you, Mr. President. You may not have heard this. Just moments ago, Joe Biden stated that our supporters are garbage.
Biden even taking to social media to clarify, writing, earlier today, I referred to the hateful rhetoric about Puerto Rico spewed by Trump's supporter at his Madison Square Garden rally as garbage, which is the only word I can think of to describe it. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable. That's all I meant to say. Harris has been careful to call out Donald Trump, not his supporters, as her campaign tries to win over independents and Republicans. Trump has repeatedly gone after voters who are supporting Harris.
I'll tell you what, any African American or Hispanic, and you know how well I'm doing there, that votes for Kamala.
Like, he'll be like, if Jews don't vote for me, if they vote for Democrats, they need to get lobotomies. They need their heads examined. Hispanics love me. And the ones that don't, will deport them. And then you're like, hey, that's crazy. Like, that's a crazy thing to say. Why are you saying these crazy things? Nope, none of that. What are we doing? It's just the permission structure for Republicans to get away with whatever the they want to say is so insane right now. Like, there is genuinely nothing that Republicans can say that will cause the media to be like, okay, dude, this is insane. Like, if you are doing real news coverage on the fact that Donald Trump's prominent generals have called him out for admiring Adolf Hitler last week, and then this week, the current sitting president says, yeah, people that support that shit are trash. You can't turn around and be like, well, that's a bridge too far, sir. Like, what are you supposed to do then? It doesn't make sense. It's so inconsistent. It like doesn't make sense to me because I believe it. I believe that Donald Trump is a fascist. Okay. I believe that his supporters are at best not all that interested in the dangers that fascism presents. And at worst, they are die-in-the-wool fascists themselves. Okay. They want to do bad things. They want to hurt people. They want to hurt your neighbors. They want to, they want to put them in concentration camps. If you turn around and go, that's a bridge too far to consider them trash, it's like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing then? What are you supposed to say? Give them high fives, kiss them, love them? You're not going to, Joe Biden already bear hugged one fascist in Israel, okay? Benjamin Netanyahu. What are we doing? You want him to bear hug this one too? Give all the fascists a hug and then become fascists ourselves. That's great. Seems like a good future for this country.
Allah, you got to have your head examined. Anybody that votes for her, you should have your head examined.
And
yeah, like, that's what I mean. What does that say? What does that say? Donald Trump, every rally is like, if you're a Kamala supporter, you literally have an intellectual disability, okay? Where's the coverage? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? You can't call that trash? You can't call the supporters of that trash? That's crazy. That's crazy to me. Like, Tucker Carlson went on the Madison Square Garden stage and literally said, Kamala Harris is a low IQ Samoan Malaysian. Okay? Like, that is so insane. Like, that is such an insanely racist, obviously racist thing to say. It is like you're not even offering plausible deniability in that moment. You're just basically saying, like, they're all the same. Black, brown, doesn't matter. They're low IQ and it doesn't matter where they're actually from. Okay. And when you offer any kind of media coverage to like Joe Brandon's sentiment in this situation, as though this is like equal ground, okay, as though Donald Trump's rhetoric and Joe Biden's response to said rhetoric is like kind of similar, it's ridiculous. And then the Democrats turn around and capitulate on that. Dems tried it in 2016, deplorables. No. That's a different situation. It's a different situation because Hillary Clinton was responding to a person that she was right about, by the way. She was right to say that they were deplorables, but she was responding to a person that wasn't seen in the same way as Donald Trump is. Okay? And no, that wasn't a motivator for people to go out and vote. 2016 is not 2024. 4 years of Donald Trump already happened. Okay? January 6th already happened. Child separation already happened. Roe v. Wade already happened. Get the fuck out of here.
Former president still hasn't outright denounced any of the sexist, racist, or vulgar remarks made by speakers at his rally, including that comment about Puerto Rico, instead bragging about the event.
It was like a love fest, an absolute love fest, and it was my honor to be involved.
And then telling Fox News he can't imagine it's a big deal.
What they've done is taken somebody that has nothing to do with the party, has nothing to do with us, said something, and they try and make a big deal. But I don't know who it is. I don't even know who put him in. And I can't imagine it's a big deal. I've done more for Puerto Rico than any president.
He later said the comedian probably shouldn't have been invited at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but I don't want anybody making nasty jokes or stupid jokes. I mean, probably he shouldn't have been there, yeah.
But that comedian wasn't the only one on stage to use racist and sexist rhetoric. Some Republicans warning the damage could already be done.
This is not a time to have anyone criticize Puerto Rico or Latinos. This is not a time for them to get overly masculine with this bromance thing that they've got going. 53% of the electorate are women. Women will vote. They care about how they're being talked to, and they care about the issues. They need to remember that. This is a time of discipline, and this is a time of addition.
The former president campaigning in all-important Pennsylvania, putting immigration at the center of his closing message, vowing mass deportations, and receiving his biggest applause when delivering this campaign promise.
And I am hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer.
And the Supreme Court has rejected a push to remove Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name from the ballot in two critical battleground states, Michigan and Wisconsin. Kennedy was trying to get his name off of the ballot after he dropped out of the race. He has since endorsed former President Donald Trump. He says that if Trump wins the White House, he has promised him broad authority and control over public agencies. Kennedy, of course, has pushed a range of conspiracy theories, including about vaccines. Robin.
All right, Rachel, thanks to you.
Chance in front of 100,000.
Don't cave, don't capitulate, except, who am I kidding? As I correctly called out that this was going to happen. It, of course, happened. Kamala Harris distanced herself from Biden. Not on Israel, by the way, which she should have done months ago. Not on any number of different things, like the right-wing border bill that they're pushing for. Not on that, but on this. It is... This only further, like, how do you not understand the lesson that the Republicans, especially in the post-Trump universe that we're living in, how do you not learn that one very important lesson? A very important lesson that dictates that if you apologize to cynical framings of a story, you are basically continuing that story. You're legitimizing it. You're giving it air. The answer should always be this, okay? Joe Biden's statements aside, we know where the well of depravity comes from. And we are going to vote him out in November in the next 5 days, okay? The idea that Joe Biden's statements on the increasingly harmful rhetoric coming from Trump and his rallies is in any way, shape, or form inappropriate, is ridiculous. Okay? Because it is ridiculous. You understand? It's ridiculous. This is a cynical way that Republicans are trying to turn around and say, oh, man, I can't believe he called us garbage. Oh, remember when Hillary Clinton said deplorables? It's the same thing. Stop letting cry bullies win. Republicans do this so well only because Democrats cave. Okay? If Democrats did not cave to this kind of cynical bullshit, and they haven't caved in the past on certain issues, it would not be a real there would be no motion. There'd be no juice on this. CNN's been covering a garbage thing all day. Meanwhile, Trump just called Democrats horrible people 5 minutes ago. The media is failing us. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is one of those instances where I'm the most libbed up, most hashtag resistance ass out there. Okay. This double standard is so annoying. Okay. This double standard is completely unacceptable. It blows my mind. It is so frustrating to watch it unfold every single time. Okay? My brain hurts. Came from a chat trying to convince me Trump would be better on Gaza than Kamala. Are we looking at the same shit? Are we seeing the things that Trump is saying and getting away with saying every day? Are we seeing what the crowds at his rallies are cheering for? How are we looking at the situation and be like, well, both sides have some issues? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Harris breaks with Biden over garbage comment about Trump supporters have the reluctance to distance herself.
talk about what's at stake in this election and to point out that the American people have a real choice and a very important decision to make in 6 days. And it is about who will not only lead the country, but occupy the White House, where critical decisions are made that include how we think about who we are as a nation and whether we are going to be a nation of people who attempt to unify and break through this era of divisiveness, or are we going to be a nation of people who has a president stewing in the Oval Office over his enemies list? And I think that the turnout last night and the kind of feedback that we are receiving is a strong indication that the American people actually want a leader who is going to bring us together. And that's the type of leader I intend to be.
Have you spoken to President Biden since his comment last night about garbage?
Listen, I think that, first of all, he clarified his comments. But let me be clear, I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for. You heard my speech last night and continuously throughout my career. I believe that the work that I do is about representing all the people, whether they support me or not. And as President of the United States, I will be a president for all Americans, whether you vote for me or not.
Are you saying that Joe Biden is not a president for all Americans, whether you vote for him or not? Is that what you're saying? Like, there's so much that's wrong with this. Republicans tried and failed to claim that Democrats' rhetoric on Trump led a registered Republican shooting Trump. Okay, hold on. This was a moment where Dems didn't back down and showed how silly it is. For Republicans to cry bully the Dems. Now they're caving on the cynical framing on the issue of garbage, like on the Biden garbage issue. Okay, hold on. Let me rewrite this. Republicans tried and failed to claim the Democrats' rhetoric on Trump led a registered Republican to shoot at Trump. This was a moment where Dems didn't back down and showed how much GOP owns. I'm sorry for getting mad at her for this is stupid. She just had a huge speech about unity and Biden undermined that even though he's right. But of course she's going to say this after that speech last night. No, it's bad. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. And for two reasons, okay? It's a bad idea for two reasons. Number one, it's a bad idea because you're trying to win an election, okay? You're trying to win an election. It's dumb to try and do a unity thing when the other side is never saying unity. The other side is saying, we're going to kill you. And you're over here being like, no, we're going to unite with them. You're dumb. That's number one. Number two, what have I told you guys about the Sister Soldier moment that Bill Maher was asking for from Kamala Harris? It is a bad PR strategy to adopt the cynical framing that your opponent is cry bullying you over. You are giving them a victory. Whether you agree with the sentiment or not does not matter. Okay? When you say something like this is what's going to lead the news cycle now. Ooh, there's division between Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Like it's dumb. It's so dumb. All right? It's so dumb. The smart thing to do in this situation from a communication strategy is to turn around and be like, what are we talking about, dude? Like, there hasn't been a day that has gone by when Donald Trump hasn't said that he wants to use the military on American citizens that he does not like. That is garbage. And if you believe that, you got garbage beliefs. That's it. Move the conversation back. Put the Republicans on defense. That's what you're supposed to do. There is no reason to be like, here's the real situation. Here's what's going on. I don't agree. I'm going to be the president for all Americans. Like, Republicans never say that. Yeah. Mike Lee, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, when President Biden called Trump supporters garbage moments ago, did he mean older people like my parents or younger people like my children, nephews, and nieces? Also, are just men garbage or my wife and sister garbage too? I said, yes, if they're voting for Trump, they're all garbage. The whole deplorable thing worked out really well. Like, what are we doing here? We have to be so courteous to the whims of like some of the dumbest people on the planet, dude. Get the out of here. Why are we being held hostage by these dipshits? Why? This is some loser shit. Okay? This is loser shit, dude. This is straightforward loser shit. What the Dems didn't cave to the cry bullies and showed that the GOP owns politically violent rhetoric. Now they're caving on the cynical framing on Biden's garbage comment. Why? That's what I'm going to say. Because, like, I'm showing you an example where the Democratic Party across the board did not actually back down. Remember, Donald Trump gets shot in the ear, grazed in the ear, okay? Republicans immediately come out and they're like, I can't believe you're running a campaign against a guy who just got shot. How dare you do this? I can't believe your violent rhetoric against Donald Trump being a fascist is the reason why a registered Republican shot at him, right? And everybody was like, come on, dude. Have you heard Donald Trump speak at a rally? You really think the Democrats are using violent rhetoric here? Get the out of here. And what happened? What happened when the Democrats actually had some backbone? What happened when the Democrats demonstrated a little bit of backbone where they're like, violence is never acceptable, but we all know who's actually doing the politically violent rhetoric, okay? It's the Republicans forever, and especially in this news cycle. You got dumbass Republican terrorists like lighting ballot boxes on fire, shooting at Kamala Harris's campaign office in Arizona, okay? You got all this shit happening. You have a Florida man who's in jail after threatening Kamala Harris supporters with a machete outside of a polling place. Police say Caleb Williams, a Trump supporter, aggressively brandished a weapon towards two women aged 71 and 54 outside of the Jacksonville Public Library. And these dumbasses are like, oh, I can't believe Joe Biden called it trash. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Trash should be criticized on the virtues that it's like not enough. Okay? People should be saying that Joe Biden's statements were not aggressive enough for the moment.
The Beaches Branch Library yesterday afternoon to intimidate voters. News for Jackson.
We can't attack that person for calling Puerto Rico garbage, and at the same time we call all Republicans garbage while trying to court their vote. It would be hypocritical. No, not that I agree with them trying to court Republicans. No, you're trying to separate the Republicans you're courting from Donald Trump, okay? You are trying to separate the Republicans that you're courting from Donald Trump. In that circumstance, saying you don't want to be like that guy or his supporters is valid, okay? You're not trying to court the Republicans who are going to vote for Donald Trump into voting for you. That's not going to work. Then you're just saying nice things about people who are not going to vote for you, who think you're a low IQ Samoan Malaysian, as Tucker Carlson said. What the There is an election happening, guys. What are we doing? It's in 6 days. Wake up. I don't know if you know this, but the election is against Donald Trump.
Reporter Aaron Farrar is joining us now live from Neptune Beach. Aaron, that early voting site just opened a few minutes ago.
And we've already seen people already starting to walk down this path to head to inside the Beaches Branch Library. People are continuing to make their way in now. Some of the cars are pulling into this parking lot. This is the same parking lot where police say all of this happened yesterday. Police say there were 8 different teenagers, all between 16 to 18 years old. The chief says that they were here to cause a ruckus and antagonize an opposing political party. Here's that picture again of Caleb Williams holding the machete in the air, police say. It was taken by one of 2 women who told police they were worried about getting hurt. The Duval County Democratic Party says the women were peacefully holding Harris Walls signs when Williams confronted them with a machete over his head. When police arrived, they found the teens and say that Williams was standing next to a truck and that the machete was in the bed of that truck in plain view. Williams was arrested. The other teens were not. Williams is in the Duval County Jail right now facing 2 charges, including aggravated assault and improper exhibition of a dangerous weapon. Records show that he registered as a Republican in March of last year. Chief Key says he is committed to making sure that this site remains safe for anyone simply trying to cast a ballot without fear or intimidation of doing so.
To say I'm disturbed is an understatement. I'm mad that this happened in Neptune Beach. This goes way beyond expressing freedom of speech. To say your piece is your First Amendment protected right, but that goes out the window the moment you raise a machete over your head in a threatening manner.
The Duval County Democratic Chair Daniel Henry also released a statement about this, saying in part, quote, violence and intimidation have...
Thank God it was a Republican white kid. Dog, what are you talking about? What Democrat is going to do this shit, dude? I mean, that, like, it is not in line. It is not in line with, like, anything that the Democratic Party is communicating, okay? Like, even if there was someone like this, and it has happened in the past, like the congressional baseball game, the guy who shot the congressional baseball game was like a person who door knocked for Bernie Sanders. You cannot point to a single thing that Bernie Sanders has said that like even remotely would activate someone into doing this. That's why we always joked about the whole like that's why we joked about the whole like registered Republican shooting at Trump shit. Like, what's really funny about the Mar-a-Lago Trump shooter guy is that he also voted for Trump in 2016. Like, Ryan Ruth voted for Donald Trump in 2016, okay? That's 2 for 2. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, yeah, he was libbed up. He was Mr. NATO, okay? But there is something really funny about, like, 2 of the unsuccessful Trump assassinations, as far as we understand, had either voted for Donald Trump or were registered Republicans. Like, this is not normal. There is nothing that the Democrats have said at all that implies that they want violence to happen, okay? Violence in Gaza, they're fully on board with that, okay? They are, straight up. Let's be real, okay? Permanent genocide, they're totally fine with that. But when it comes down to American domestic politics, the rhetoric that you hear from the Democratic Party is not only very anti-violence, but pro-Republican, too pro-Republican for my taste. It's ridiculous.
Have no place in our democratic process. The Duval County Democratic Party stands with those who seek to express their views peacefully and without fear of reprisal. We urge all citizens to continue engaging in civic activities respectfully and lawfully. As we're giving you another live look.
Why is it necessary for them to highlight this as a Republican versus Democrat thing instead of just violent crime kind of underlines the situation? Wait, am I misunderstanding? Because he did it at a voting site, dog. What the It's like looking at a dude who does a hate crime, an anti-Semitic hate crime against Jewish people, and then like draws a swastika, and you're like, well, this just seems like a regular instance of violent crime. Why would you call this a hate crime? It's like, well, that's a pretty big detail, I think. You can't really leave that out of the conversation. You would not be doing your job.
Citizens to continue engaging in civic activities respectfully and lawfully. As we're giving you another live look this morning outside of the Jacksonville Public Library Beaches branch this morning. So far, we've seen several people already go inside to early vote. Again, this site opened at 7 o'clock this morning. As far as for Williams, he is set to make his first appearance in court later on this morning at 9 o'clock. So in just shy of 2 hours from now. We're live in Neptune Beach this morning. I'm Aaron Farrar, Channel 4, the local station.
Oh.
That is my responsibility, and that's the kind of work that I've done my entire career, and I take it very seriously.
Have you spoken to him about his comments and his
he did call me last night, but this didn't come up.
Are you concerned about what impact this may have on voters, on the divisiveness of the election, and whether or not it's going to dissuade some people from supporting you because of your affiliation with the president and this administration?
I've been very clear with the American public. I respect the challenges that people face. I respect the fact that we all have so much more in common than what separates us, and that most people want a president that understands that gets that, and approaches their role of leadership that way. I've been very clear from my earliest years.
This is a bad tactic. I think the best possible thing to do in this situation is deflect, 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 deflect. Do you not have a comms guy? Oh my God. Do you not have a single intelligent PR person in your background? I know you do. There is 0% chance you don't have one person who was like, ma'am, I think the best possible thing to do in this situation is just to switch the conversation back to the violent rhetoric that we hear from the Trump Republicans on a regular basis. Donald Trump hasn't had a single day where he has gone to a political rally and said, I like the Democrats. Some of them are very fine. Every single day, he does 2 rallies a day. And at every single rally, he's like, I'm going to kill Democrats. I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill them dead. I'm going to use the military. I'm going to use the police. We're going to lock them up. We're going to execute people. We're going to kill brown people. We're going to put them in concentration camps. And then, God forbid, someone goes, hey, that was pretty trashy. I think that's trash, you know? I think that's pretty trash. God forbid. Holy moly, dude. What? No way. This is not real. This is not a real person, dude. Stop. This proud piece of garbage is proud to be one. Joe Biden and KH, a reckoning is coming in 6 days. No, this got to be a meme, dude. When I see something like served to me on a platter like this, I just think, it's probably not real,
As a prosecutor, I never asked anyone, are they a Democrat or Republican? The only thing I ask folks is, are you okay? And that's the kind of president I will be.
And what did you talk about with the president? Madam Vice President, on a separate subject, last night you mentioned removing people in the country who are here illegally. What do you mean? Is that...
By the way, the funniest thing was when the Trump attempted assassination, the failed assassination happened, right? And the funniest thing was people who were wearing like kill Kamala Harris or kill Joe Biden t-shirts would be like, this dangerous rhetoric has gotten out of control. Like, it's like, did you listen to the rally that you just left? Are you aware that you are wearing a shirt that is calling for political violence against your opponents? Are you all right? That's 100% him. Oh my God, you did find him. Don't let labels define you. Charlie Kirk gives a speech at the Trump appreciation rally. Oh my God, this is literally Jesus Christ, dude.
That's an immigration statement, obviously. Were you referring to people who have come here before illegally, or can you expand on what you meant by that comment?
What I intend to do on the issue of immigration, as I said last night and have said continuously, is we need to fix our broken immigration system in a number of ways. We need to strengthen the border and put more resources at the border, which is why I support the bipartisan bill that Donald Trump killed that would have otherwise put 1,500 more border agents at the border, put more resources into prosecuting transnational.
I'm seeing a lot of people in your chat saying they hate Republicans. What the Yeah, this is really messed up. Yeah, I wonder why this community would say things like they hate Republicans. I wonder where that comes from, dude. Like, we don't even like the Democrats because they present themselves as too Republican aligned. Yes, I do not like the Republican Party. I do not like its platform. I do not like the things that Republicans advocate for. I think everything that they advocate for is completely against improving the material conditions of the American working class. Okay? It is garbage. Their opinions are garbage. Okay? I would say the same for many Democrats who also capitulate to the Republicans and their framing on a lot of issues. I don't like it. I don't like what they do to themselves. I don't like what they do to the country. I don't like what they do to marginalized people. I think it is trash.
Crime, and would very importantly put more resources into stemming the flow of fentanyl, which is killing people around the country. And when I am elected president, I will bring that bill back and I will sign it into law. I also have done the work and have in my policy going forward will strengthen what we need to do to deal with, for example, illegal entries between ports of entry. That is something that we need to tighten up. I will do the work also about ensuring that we pass comprehensive immigration reform in a way that we allow hardworking people who have earned citizenship a path to actually be able to gain citizenship because they have earned it, and that includes everyone from our farm workers to dreamers.
And just to follow up on the
do you sympathise if any voters do feel
once again?
Do you sympathise with any voters who do feel offended by or insulted by the garbage comments?
I am running for president of the United States. I will be traveling to 3 states today to do what I have been doing throughout, which is talking with the American people about the fact that, first of all, I get it in terms of the concerns they have about challenges like the price of groceries. Second, my highest priority is to address that and to lift them up around their ambitions, their aspirations, and their dreams, which is why I have a very specific and detailed plan about strengthening our economy. Leading economists have reviewed my plan and indicated it will strengthen the economy and that Donald Trump's plan will weaken the economy. So I'm going to be spending full time, as I've been, talking with the American people, whoever they voted for last time. And as I have said and will repeat over and over.
Garbage, I think, is worse, right? But he doesn't know yet.
Oh, yeah, garbage. I can't believe they're calling him garbage. I can't believe they called us garbage. We want to kill him, don't we, folks? We want to kill him dead. Why? Because they called us garbage. Update from Elant News. A high-ranking source who's familiar with Iran's deliberations told CNN the response of the Islamic Republic of Iran to the aggression of the Zionist regime will be definitive and painful. The source also told CNN it will probably take place before the day of the U.S. presidential election. Oh, no. I don't know what their like analysis here at this point. Like, because it's just, it doesn't really matter who wins at this point. You know what I mean? From their perspective, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the is. Like, I don't know what their calculation is. Are you taking any days off soon? No.
You have to please forgive him. Please forgive him, for he not knoweth what he said.
Wow, he's such a uniter. I wonder what he said before and after that. Okay. What did Donald Trump say perhaps before in that same rally? What did he say after in that same rally? I'm willing to bet if I clicked on a random moment from this rally, I could find him saying unhinged things about Democrats, unhinged things about immigrants, unhinged things about any number of people that he feels wronged by.
So we're thrilled to be joined by some incredible people. I already mentioned Senator Marco Rubio. Marco, will you come up here, please? Come on. Good man, this one. Thank you, Marco. Thank you. You want to say something? Go ahead.
All right. Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but I have breaking news for you, Mr. President. You may not have heard this. Just moments ago, Joe Biden stated that our supporters are garbage. Are garbage. He's talking about the Border Patrol. He's talking about nurses. He's talking about teachers. He's talking about everyday Americans who love their country and want to dream big.
I like the idea that, like, oh, if you're a nurse or if you're a Border Patrol guy or if you're like a military veteran, like, you can't have garbage opinions. Okay. And they don't even believe this idea because they say that about liberals all the time. Like, what is this line, dude? Oh my God, I can't believe he said fathers of three lovely young daughters who have paid their taxes on time are garbage for believing in the garbage things that Donald Trump is saying and, support Donald Trump. It's like, dude, you call Democrats pedophiles on a daily basis while simultaneously your prominent party figures, activists, and directly elected representatives alike are doing unrestricted pedophilia and getting caught. Okay. What are you saying? Like, oh, I can't believe they called us garbage. It's just such I hate this. I hate it so much. It is such an obvious, like, ridiculous baby shit nonsense. Like, oh, I'm so mad. You're not mad.
Again and support you, Mr. President. And I hope their campaign is about to apologize.
I hate this pearl clutching. I hate it.
Joe Biden just said, we are not garbage. We are patriots who love America. And thank you for running, Mr. President.
Wow. That's terrible. That's what it says. That's what it says. So you have, remember Hillary, she said deplorable? And then she said irredeemable, right? But she said deplorable, that didn't work out. Garbage, I think, is worse, right? But he doesn't know, you have to please forgive him. Please forgive him, for he not knoweth what he said. These people, it's terrible, terrible. Terrible to say a thing like that, but he really doesn't know. He really, honestly, he doesn't. And I'm convinced that he likes me more than he likes Kamala. Convinced. This week, Kamala has been comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And now, speaking on a call for her campaign last night, Joe Biden finally said what he and Kamala really think of our supporters. He called them garbage. And they mean it. Even though, without question, my supporters are far higher quality than Crooked Joe or Lying Kamala. My response.
I'm convinced this isn't a big deal because Trump is the biggest believer that his supporters are garbage. I know, but only he gets to say that. You know what I mean? He literally go to Detroit and be like, Detroit is a piece of shit. You guys live in filth. You're shitty people. Vote for me now. And they'll be like, yes, Mr. President. Hell yeah. I'd love to vote for you. They'll be like, get your fat husband off the couch and vote for me, Deborah. And people will be like, hell yeah, I'm fat. I'm fat as f***. I'm going to die tomorrow, sir. But I hope I don't die so I can vote for you. I'm trying to find an old tweet about it, but the Republicans have the gift of saying whatever they want without getting any flack. Philosophically, they are free. I know. It's very annoying. It's very annoying that the standards set for Democrats and Republicans are so different. They are not even on the same planet, okay? God forbid a Democrat speaks even a little bit out of turn, and every single person will be like, what the? How dare they? How dare they? It is so frustrating. It is so unimaginably frustrating. Republicans get away with every kind of filth. They get away with saying anything they want to say forever. Not gonna lie, it's the same for you. Really? You think it's the same for me? Do you know a single other influencer, okay, or famous person or rich person that has been quote unquote canceled for purchasing a house for him and his family? Do you know a single other person? It is especially the same case for me. That's what's so goddamn frustrating about it. You got dudes who advocate for white people to say the N-word, crying foul. Dudes who have said unimaginably anti-Semitic things, okay, over and over again, claiming that I am anti-Semitic. It's ridiculous. Oh, unless he was talking about the double standard exists for me as well. Instead of claiming that like I get away with it or whatever. The standards are always different for people who want a better future, for people who want a better tomorrow. If you advocate for those things, you are placed on an insane standard. Oftentimes, not even your own personal standards. You are supposed to abide by the standards that your enemy sets for you. Democrats need to This is such a funny article. By the way, those people confessed that they don't care about anti-Semitism and just trolling. Organizer admits targeted harassment campaign against Twitch, and Hasan admits he did it to troll. Well, I don't know where the post is because he got removed. But we know that already. I've seen it. I think it was already established. Anyway, Donald Trump's campaign message, final campaign message, I'm not Hitler. This I'm not Hitler t-shirt I'm wearing is bringing up a lot more questions that is answered by my t-shirt.
Response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You just and you can't be president if you hate the American people. And there's a lot of hatred there. Kamala Harris is not fit to be president of the United States. She doesn't have the intellect, the stamina, or that special quality that real leaders must have to lead. We know what that is. It's a special quality. Joe Biden's comments were the direct result of Kamala's and Tim Walz, you know? You know who that is? His decision to portray everyone who isn't voting for them as evil or subhuman. You're not subhuman. I'm looking at you. You are not subhuman. And we know it's what they believe because look how they've treated you. They've treated you like garbage, frankly. They've treated you like garbage. You know what? The truth is they've treated our whole country like garbage, whether they meant to or not, because they're grossly incompetent people, and they've destroyed our country. Our country is suffering right now like it's never suffered with inflation. And with the infliction, think of it, they've allowed millions and millions of people to come into our country.
It's a nothing burger.
I couldn't agree more.
I mean, y'all are trying to make the...
Oh, I can't wait for this dipshit to fucking chirp about how this is the most unimaginable wrong that has been committed thus far.
Listen,
you don't get to have it both ways.
No,
you can't say it's a joke and so but it's serious and let's do round the clock media coverage when it's a comedian. But when the president of the United States says it, no, we'll give him a free pass.
Guys, what are we doing here? Donald Trump says worse shit. Donald Trump says worse shit than Tony Hinchcliffe on a daily basis, dude.
You know what's crazy? I want you to take the president of the United States to task. You do that. And I want you to do that as well. Take him to task and say that his comments were inappropriate. Actually, I want you to get a warm, cozy blanket and say it reminds you of 2016 when Hillary Clinton called us deplorables, right? And then what I'm going to tell you is the fact that Kamala Harris got on stage tonight in front of 100,000 people and talked about the America that she wanted. I'm going to tell you about the fact that Kamala Harris said that she's going out on the campaign trail with people like Liz Cheney, that she has Bush's campaigning for, that she's going to put a Republican in her cabinet, that there is nobody on God's green earth that can look you directly in the face with any level of intellectual honesty and tell you that the America that Kamala Harris wants versus the America that Donald Trump wants is the exact same. And so, yes, listen, you want to talk about foot and mouth disease? That's Joe Biden. Do we want him on the campaign trail? You know, that the sources that we have, we actually do want him on the campaign trail, contrary to popular belief, because he still does well.
I will say, though, Bakari,
with certain demographics.
he was in his house, the White House. He was in his house doing this, and the reporting is that there are places that he can be useful, but he's not everywhere, like you might expect a sitting president to be for his vice president.
I don't know that I would expect this president to be everywhere in this moment. I mean, look, a critical element, any coach will tell you, any CEO will tell you, a critical element of running a team and winning is assessing the strengths and weaknesses of your team members and making sure you allocate them in the right way. Joe Biden has never been a big arena speaker. He's never been the most fluid speaker. And by the way, as someone who had a stutter growing up, it's very obvious to me that there's an apostrophe at the end of supporters there. He was referring to the garbage spewed by supporters, not simply the supporters themselves. But Joe Biden has been on the campaign trail. He's best getting ice cream in Maryland like he was today. He's best showing moments of empathy in Arizona like he was last week. He's best with union folks as he was in Pittsburgh last week as well. You use people where they are best. You put Obama in a big arena, you put Michelle in a big arena, and you put Joe Biden in front of a bunch of union people doing retail politics.
You could make the argument that they would be fine if Joe Biden wasn't anywhere near a microphone between now and next Tuesday.
Let me just accept the most charitable framing of this, which you just gave. Why is he sitting in front of a laptop at the exact same moment Kamala Harris is out on his backyard trying to give the closing argument to her campaign? What in the world is he doing? Now, I don't accept your framing of it personally because I actually do believe he, Harris, the Democratic Party, and most of their campaign do believe that half the country is garbage. They've also said people who go to Trump rallies are Nazis. And so it's pretty apparent the disdain with which they hold half of the country in.
It's not true. Joe already litigated it in Kamala's speech tonight.
But as a tactical matter today,
No, but you don't just get to say
why in the world is Joe Biden giving remarks at the same
So
time as
I
Kamala Harris.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Actually,
we're going to talk about other.
I thought he was going to be here for a couple of segments. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's fair enough. If you want to talk about like who's running with various candidates and what the
This lady summed up the garbage outrage perfectly.
I want you to sit with this feeling. I want you to sit with this feeling of being called garbage.
80 plus million people being called garbage by the sitting president, a comedian who was speaking at a rally significantly different.
One time by a
I mean, dude, here's the easiest, simplest solution to this. Don't advocate for garbage. Don't believe in garbage policies. Don't believe in hurting other people. It's that simple. If you are primed, tuned, excited about the prospect of mass deportations, okay, you're garbage. You're bad. You're a bad person. A super simple way to not be, to not have half the country or more than half the country see you as that is to say, I'm not on board with this. I think this is unconscionable. I am not voting for Donald Trump. That's it. That's it. It's that easy. I swear to God, it is that easy.
By a sitting president. I want you to sit with this feeling because maybe you will feel just a crumb of how millions and millions of people in this country have felt over the course of 9 years having to deal with Donald Trump. Trump's supporters set the standard on how people should react when a politician says something bad. You guys set that standard. You set that standard when for 9 years you allowed Donald Trump to say the most horrific things about marginalized groups, calling Mexicans rapists and murderers, saying that the LGBTQIA community harms children, that Muslims...
You rage baited early classic? What? I didn't. What are you talking about? To this clip? No. What? No, she's right. I read the reply to her that she is replying back to with this TikTok. I'm agreeing with the clip.
Muslims are...
I think sometimes you guys see like a blonde woman and you insta assume that it's like a Trump supporter or something. I did not imply that at all.
Terrorists and need to be banned from the country. That he couldn't have possibly sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll because she wasn't his type. He's called people like me a lunatic for 9 years. A liberal lunatic. 9 years. And not one of his supporters have ever come out to call him out on it. They clapped for it. They cheered for it.
It's funny because like people have called him out on some of this stuff and then they're no longer a part of the in-group. That's the other thing. And like Kamala Harris is trying to pick at all of those people that are like, I don't know if I want to be on board with this. But you can't do that while simultaneously normalizing Trump. You have to make these people distance themselves from Donald Trump. And that's why the weird narrative was so good. Okay? Donald Trump and his cult-like followers are weird. You don't want to be like them. That's why you don't want to vote for them. You want to vote for me instead. Or you want to just stay at home and you don't want to vote for Donald Trump. That's the best way to do this. Because it also deflates like the powerful way that they try to present themselves as. And there are scary aspects of the Trump rhetoric, of course. Mass deportations is terrifying. It's objectively fascist shit. Seeking the enemy, seeking the military on what you perceive as enemies from within is terrifying shit, okay? And on those issues, you have to be serious. But on others, like the constant flow of hatred, trying to prime an audience, trying to tune an audience to hate trans people for no reason whatsoever, that is weird. That's good. That's weak. That's weak shit. You're doing this because you're weak. They're doing that. The Republicans are doing that because they're weak people. They're only a weak person sees someone that is in a shittier circumstance than they are and chooses to pounce on them. I think you're fundamentally wrong on this. Biden demonized an entire group of people is just like anti-white racism. Good one. Sorry, it was bait. I just wanted you to read my previous message. Off topic, I was rewatching the Japan trip vlogs and clips, and I was wondering when you were going to go back. It was peak content. Don't worry. I'm going to go back in January.
They egged him on. No one has held him accountable for 9 years. So, if you're offended this one time, you want to clutch your pearls this one time, but you also fail to realize you guys set the standard over how I should react to it, right? So let's see. Oh, you're taking it out of context. Oh, it was just a joke. Oh, Biden's just off the cuff, right? You know how Biden is. He just says things. He's funny. He tells it like it is. 9 years. Sit with it one time.
This is what GOP runs in ads.
Do you have a daughter? Kamala Harris wants to put a man on every single women's sports team in this country. It will happen the minute she signed into office. I got a question for you, America. If Kamala Harris is the candidate that supports they, thems, who's gonna support USA? Last week, a Facebook poll indicated that 10 gabillion immigrants finally talked about communism, aka the Kamala Harris ticket. On day one in office, Kamala Harris has vowed to sign communism into the Constitution and revoke free speech, but only if you're conservative and or religious, which is why Bibles are mandated in classrooms. America, I am pained to announce that a Facebook poll indicated 10 quadrillion immigrants per public school have been imported in the last 72 hours. America, the choice is yours. Who are you gonna pick?
I don't have anything else.
Where's Mike Pence? Where's Nikki Haley? Where's every single Republican living vice president and president? They're not speaking for Donald Trump.
Except for Sarah Palin.
You got me there.
Haley's for Trump.
Haley is not on the trail.
We'll get to the Nikki Haley
Haley's not on the trail. They haven't spoken since June, so she might be.
She spoke at our convention.
I think what we
She
need
has
to
not
do-
been there. She has not been on the trail. They haven't spoken since June.
She spoke at our convention.
I think Kamala Harris is running a young and modern and fresh campaign. It is very rare to be the vice president of a president running while he is still president. That does not happen a lot. So she has to walk a very fine line. And I think the thing is that she has to separate herself from the Biden-Harris campaign to show us what the Harris-Walz campaign would look like. So I think it makes sense.
It's more of the same.
that
She couldn't
it's
even
not more
answer
of
a
the
simple
same.
question
It's
of what would you
100%
do
not more
differently.
of the same.
She stood at that. She stood there
Because
tonight in the
she's
ellipse and
walking
said,
a
"I will
fine
be
line
honest with you. I will
between-
never lie, and I will say difficult things. But I can't tell you one mistake that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris made. It's because she believes all of the horrible policies
Have you
that
ever
they
had a
have done."
boss? Have you ever had a boss? Did you ever work for anyone?
Yes, and I still do.
Okay. So
I was
hypothetically,
about to say I'm married, so I don't.
Here's what we got.
There you go. Yeah, well, Kari and I agree.
So anyway, you have a boss. You're working with your boss. You're at a dinner. You might be going for another job. You're not going to insult your boss while you're at the table, right? She is still the vice president of the president of the United States. So if you ask me, hey, what has your boss done wrong at this company? You're not going to say, well, he's done this wrong and this wrong and this wrong. You're going to say, I think, well, I'm here at this company and I'm doing my job. That's her job as the vice president.
That is why
as
there's
the
only-
presidential
Isn't
candidate,
there an
she's going to
argument
speak
to be
differently.
made, though, that even from a strategic perspective, there's no harm necessarily in her saying, actually, I would do something differently.
There's no harm at all. You're exactly right.
The American
100%.
people might actually want to hear her say that.
But that, I mean,
But don't you think she
but that's
is?
also kind of blind to say, because what you're discounting is the fact that this individual actually got 84 million votes. What you're actually discounting is the fact that in places like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan, there are demographics, particularly in the blue wall states, where he does extremely well.
But do you think that even
actually it's at 48, 49%.
Even
now.
the
39.
people-
39. Gallup has it at 39.
No, it doesn't.
It's Real Clear Politics averages
that
at
even the
39.
people who voted for
That's
Joe
the average. You're
Biden
talking about now.
believe that he did everything right?
No. I don't think
then
Barack
that's my-
Obama did it.
What standard are we living
that's a-
with that the president did everything
Respectfully,
Even
Abby,
the
that's an
people who-
insane argument to make because I don't even think Barack Obama did everything.
standard
right.
here-
I'm just
you-
saying,
she
no,
asked a
what
important question.
I'm saying is, even the people who support Joe Biden, it sounds to me like you're suggesting that she can't distance herself from him because they all voted for him. But those people are not saying he's perfect either.
That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that contrary to the belief around this table, there is value to Joe Biden. And I'm also articulating, because we can have a nuanced conversation, that although there is value to Joe Biden, we also have to realize that Kamala Harris did a great job articulating tonight what her presidency would look like versus Donald Trump. Kamala Harris is not running against...
My mom be repeating these lib talking points. Now I know where she hears them from. Yes, everybody's got someone. Everybody's got a Hasanabi that they are watching and that they are responding and that they are repeating the talking points of, okay? For your parents, the role that I play in your life, for your parents, these guys play that role, okay? For some, it's Rachel Maddow, and for a shit ton of Americans, it's Sean Hannity, it's Tucker Carlson, and for many, it's Joe Rogan. It's terrifying to think.
Joe Biden to be president of the United States of America. She's running against Joe Biden, and it's a binary choice. You get hate, division, or you get Kamala Harris.
Or you get low gas prices, low grocery prices, a secure border in a world that's not in war.
Secure border and low gas prices, secure border. Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah, baby. That's right. It's a binary choice. Secure our border. Secure our border.
The opposite of what you have right now.
We did just talk about this. Gas prices
they're actually going down.
Radically down.
And as soon as they stop draining the SPR, they're going to go right back up again.
Look, I think this is all a piece of a double standard that I think is being applied to Kamala Harris, left, right, and center. If you want to talk about people and their ability to acknowledge where things might have gone wrong or could have gone differently, I'd encourage you to name one time that Donald Trump has said, you know what, I got this wrong.
He said he could have hired better people in the first. He made some mistakes with
That's
some
because
hiring.
none of them endorsed him.
I worked with him. I'm there.
No, okay. So if your claim is that the only thing that he has acknowledged doing wrong is hiring John Kelly, Esper, Milley, and all the people who are
She can't even say that.
No, but
but look at the reasons why he's saying that is because they have all said this man is a threat to the way we as a country function. I guess if hiring people that are not loyal enough to you and
but here's the one fundamental difference.
Fair play.
He has a record that people remember. 2/3 of the American people think our country's on the wrong track.
You're raising a correct question. The problem is that the most adjacent person to Harris is Biden, and he is the current president. And contrary to Bakari's new math, he does not have a 49% approval rating. There's a reason he's not the candidate. He has an approval rating for most of his term below 40%.
What's Trump's national approval rating?
And Donald Trump's retrospective approval is now over 50%. So the reason, and I think Abby was correct.
What is his current national approval rating?
I think you're mired down in the approval ratings and the percentages.
The gist of what you're saying.
Yes, but what you said. So the reason what you said is correct. The reason you would separate yourself from the less popular person is because people clearly don't want it anymore, and she's not yet done that, which is, I think, the point you were raising.
And if I may make a point before we carry on, I think it would be great if she could run on what Biden has done, because what Biden has done is actually tremendous. And I think it is absolutely bananas that she has to even think of distancing herself from the Jobs and Infrastructure Act, from the CHIPS Act, from the PACT Act. We haven't done infrastructure. Why are you laughing?
Please keep talking about the CHIPS Act. If you look at the polling on the issues, Joe Biden is 60% disapproved on every single major issue.
Listen, Mark.
All right, leave.
There are things that have passed in this country that haven't been done in years. Infrastructure. We're going to start seeing things 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. People are going to say, in retrospect, holy heck, was Joe Biden a fantastic president? But right now, we have to pretend that he was some god-awful president when, honestly, he passed more major infrastructure bills, more things for guns, more things for the climate, more things for the veterans, and the Republicans voted against all of it.
And
so to say that we have to run away from him is absolutely crazy, and yet the propaganda works, and you guys keep banging on the same things, and you say he was terrible, and we're going to see in the future he wasn't terrible, he was fantastic, but she has to differentiate herself from him right now.
All right. Meanwhile, before the shirt talk, you heard Lawrence talking about it. The White House now.
Dude, they're loving it, dude. It's like the most minor. It's the most minor sentiment, and it is so appropriate, and it's so valid. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to say it's appropriate. I think it's inappropriate in the opposite direction. It's not enough. Okay? Garbage is not enough to describe Trump's policies, Trump's attitude, Trump's hatred. It's not enough. You're underselling it. And they are just going nutty mode over it. They're like, oh, thank God we caught it. An example I will use is a very famous case of Alabama's failed Senate runner-up, Roy Moore. Roy Moore, after being an Alabama Supreme Court judge for years, ran for the senatorial seat in the Senate race. Roy Moore was always trash. He was a psychopathic right-wing Christo-fascist, a Christian nationalist charlatan. Roy Moore also happened to be someone who predated on young women. And at that time, when every single person was like, oh my God, he was literally banned from his own local mall in Alabama because he was trying to f young girls there, like underage girls, okay? Underage girls, minors. Minors! How the f can you vote for this guy when that was the main point of contention, okay? What did the Republicans do? Not only did they defend Roy Moore and his pedophilia, they turned around and said, well, the Democrats are sex pests too. And they looked far and wide to find anything that they could hold on to. And hold on to it they did. They found Al Franken. And they started saying, oh, you guys like Roy Moore? Well, what about Al Franken? Roy Moore had been a serial pedophile, okay? Like a blight on Alabama. A blight on Alabama in terms of pedophilia. So much so that, I repeat once again, he was not allowed to go to his local mall because they were like, dude, what the f are you doing? He was trying to prey on the young girls at the local mall. He could not go to his local mall. That's the degree of pedophilia that Roy Moore was operating on. Republicans turned around and said Al Franken did a bit where he fake grabbed the boobs of his co-host over a military vest. His co-host was at the time a Republican commentator. She said initially that it was inappropriate. All hell broke loose. They immediately were like, boom, these two things are the same. Okay? These two things are the exact same. And the Democrats turned around and clapped Al Franken. They turned around and said, yes, Al Franken is a rapist. We got to get him out of here. They ate the bait. They ate the bait. Al Franken, not the best guy. Al Franken certainly did inappropriate shit to women. I'm not even saying that that's not the case. But if you want to understand the double standards in this circumstance, if you want to understand how this shit works, recognize that Republicans will get hit on for doing like the worst unimaginable thing possible. And they'll turn around and be like, well, Democrats do it too. And these dumbass Democrats will cave immediately. Okay? It is incredibly frustrating to watch this play out every single day. It is incredibly frustrating to watch this unfold again and again and again and again. It is such an obvious, cynical deployment of no, you, like a child. You cannot play by the rules that the Republican Party sets for you. Okay? When they say no, you're supposed to do what the Republicans do. That's why they win. You're underselling a calculated propaganda tactic of whataboutism. I know. I am describing it in simple terms because it is very simple. When you are attacked for being dead to rights an asshole, you turn around and go, well, those guys are assholes too. What do you say about that? And immediately everybody hyper focuses on the other side. And especially if they cave, especially if the other side, the Democrats cave, then you've just given them a W.
In damage control mode after President Biden inexplicably went on TV and called Trump supporters, it sure sounds like garbage during a...
Like, look at this. This is America PAC, Elon Musk's PAC.
This ad contains multiple instances of the C word. Viewer discretion is...
Let me guess. The C word is, what they're calling her is a commie, but they are basically trying to say, the other C word.
Advised. Kamala Harris is a C word. You heard that right. A big old C word. In fact, all of the other C words think she's the biggest C word of them all. That's right, she's a tax-hiking, regulation-loving, gun-grabbing communist. And the worst part, she's proud of it. Kamala.
Yeah, that's the whole point, dude. Yeah, they're invoking the word, but not saying it, but kind of saying it.
Harris, the C word America simply can't afford.
Yeah, I wish he was a communist. Yeah, also, why is there a meow here?
America. Kamala Harris, the C word America simply can't afford. See you nationwide. Loving, gun-grabbing communist.
Yeah,
Gun-grabbing.
Yeah, I wonder what they're trying to say with this ad. It's communist, no? Yes, dude, the C word is communism. Why are they playing a cat? Is it because the word cat starts with a C? Or is it because they want plausible deniability while basically pointing to calling her a as a joke? It doesn't fucking matter, but like, come on, don't be stupid.
Campaign call last night.
Lucas Tomlinson joins us live from the White House. Hey, Lucas.
Well, good morning, Ainsley. It was just last week that President Biden said he wanted to lock Donald Trump up. Now he said the following last night.
I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization is seen as unconscionable.
A White House spokesman attempted to clarify Biden's remarks, saying, quote, the president referred to the hateful rhetoric at the Madison Square Garden rally as, quote, garbage. Until Biden's comments, which critics say harkens back to Hillary Clinton's deplorables comment the night was supposed to belong to his vice president, Kamala Harris. Her campaign says 75,000 people packed the ellipse here in the nation's capital to listen to Harris's closing argument. Now, before Biden's remarks, there was a lot of focus on that comedian who spoke at the Garden at Trump's rally, who made what some considered a crude remark about Puerto Rico. Now it's Biden's comments that last night that many Trump supporters are finding offensive. Of course, President Biden has not campaigned with his vice president at a rally since Labor Day, and there's no plans for him to do so. And now Senator Tom Cotton says he wants Biden to apologize to Harris. He wants Harris to condemn those comments, guys.
Lucas, I've got a question for you. So last night, Kamala Harris was on the ellipse, which is the park to the side of the White House. Yep. You could see the White House in the background. If Joe Biden looked out his window, he would see that party with tens of thousands of people that he was not invited to. Do people think that that's why he got on the horn and started talking to CNN and then made this gigantic mess less than a week before the election?
Well, it appears that this event was already planned, Steve, but you're right to point out the numbers of people who came here to the ellipse, which is just a few hundred yards away. There's 75,000 people. And remember, in Houston over the weekend, 30,000 packed that arena to hear Beyonce and the vice president speak. Meanwhile, President Biden spoke at a rally in Pittsburgh. It was just union members. There was only about 100 people that attended that one, Steve.
Right. You just wonder why he was doing anything to take any spotlight away from the vice president when she needed the spotlight. And now he really messed up. Lucas, thanks so much.
Thank you, Lucas. So President Trump was on stage with Marco Rubio. They were at an event in Allentown, Pennsylvania, at a rally. And Marco Rubio informed him.
Breaking news.
This is what Joe Biden just said about your supporters. Listen to this.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but I have breaking news for you, Mr. President. You may not have heard this. Just moments ago, Joe Biden stated that our supporters are garbage. He's talking about the Border Patrol. He's talking about nurses. He's talking about teachers. He's talking about everyday Americans who love their country and want to dream big again and support you, Mr. President. And I hope their campaign is about to apologize.
Little Marco. Little Marco. Look at the way he drinks the water. Little Marco.
For what Joe Biden just said, we are not garbage. We are patriots who love America. And thank you for running, Mr. President.
That's terrible. Remember Hillary? She said deplorable. And then she said irredeemable, right? But she said deplorable. That didn't work out. Garbage, I think, is worse, right?
It's not helpful to the Harris campaign.
One of the spins is they said, we just want to put an apostrophe. We want to fix it by putting an apostrophe after the S in the sentence to make it make sense. I don't know how that makes sense. I don't
After
think you
what
can.
S?
After
Garbage. It was because he said the only garbage I see floating out there are his supporters.
Supporters.
Oh,
supporters. Yeah.
supporters.
So yeah. So they put out an official.
Yeah, calling Puerto Ricans trash, perfectly valid. Saying that calling Puerto Ricans trash makes you a trash person, unacceptable. Once again, the entire conversation hinges on one side saying Nazi shit and the other side calling them a Nazi, and then everybody going, whoa, 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 that's way more offensive than the one side saying Nazi shit. These people openly care more about crying foul at the correct interpretation of their value systems of being open fascists. I hate it. It is so baby shit. It is so cowardly. It is just cry bullying. And once again, everyone is a liberal.
Statement
On the
right
supporters.
Right.
So yeah, this is their spin. They said the damage control statement then added an apostrophe to the word supporters to imply that Biden was only referring to one person, and that's the comedian Tony Hinchcliffe who made the joke about Puerto Rico.
Well, this is what Joe Biden.
That's a great spin.
What Joe Biden did last night is
exactly team left.
What Joe Biden did last night is exactly why the campaign of Kamala Harris does not want to campaign with him, because
I think she should give him another chance.
He is unpopular and he is undisciplined and he has made a gigantic mess for her.
Do they even talk, though? Isn't this the second time we've talked about how he's doing?
Trump would never call people garbage. Yeah.
It's not her. It's the people that surround her. They're scum. They're scum. And they want to take down our country. They are absolute garbage.
That's why it's so funny being like, Joe Biden has no messaging discipline. It's like, dude, you're in the pocket for Trump. You're in the pocket for Trump. What do you mean message discipline?
Exactly, he made a joke. There's an island of trash. Yeah. It's called Puerto Rico. Here's where that joke comes from. Tony is actually obsessed with the Pacific Garbage Patch, and like the fact that we just throw, like we were talking about, like recycling. Like recycling doesn't work. They don't do it. Most of your bottles, when you throw in a recycler, they get put in landfills. So there's a landfill in Puerto Rico that's way overflowed. Puerto Rico has a legitimate trash.
Yeah, dude, he was being environmentally conscious. Yeah, when someone says they love Adolf Hitler, they're being environmentally conscious. They're advocating for veganism. Because Adolf Hitler was a vegan. I didn't realize the joke was woke, actually. Now explain the anti-Semitic joke. Yeah, he's just raising the alarm about anti-Semitic dog whistles when he says, like, Jews are always throwing that paper. I mean, that one is like, it's just so bad. It's just so, like, it was so hacky. Oh, Jews are always throwing that paper. Like, that's such a hacky bit, dude. Or when he's talking about black people loving watermelon, like he's just, he's talking about the crisis of not having healthy foods in any community, actually. Yeah, he was raising the alarm bell about not having enough food in our diets.
Trash problem. Because they're on an island. Like, where are you going to put it, right? There's all these people living on that island. Where are you going to put it? And so they have landfills. Their landfills are way over capacity. So that's where the joke came from.
Right.
Like, the joke came from, like, Tony being environmentally conscious about recycling.
Yeah, they don't seem to have taken it that way.
But from his roaster perspective, that's where the joke comes from.
Totally.
I think
Wait, even he doesn't believe it. He's laughing about it. That's hilarious, dude. He said it, but he doesn't believe it either. This one popped off. Dude, this was insane. Like, how do you fuck up a USA chant, dude? How? How do you fuck this up?
USA! 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 USA!
USA!
USA!
USA!
Yeah!
How does that go?
Aren't we
USA!
cool? Look at me, I'm cool!
USA, everybody. Dude, please go on the first one-way trip to Mars, please. Just never to return.
Dude.
Oh my God, dude. Why couldn't the Democrats just point to why couldn't the Democrats just point to what Trump says at every rally? Why did they have to cave on this frame?